Hi, everyone. Welcome back for episode 18 of the Simply Whelmed podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
There's a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or the occasional comic, then we got the show for you. And let's see, this week we're looking at a couple of comics like we've done in the past to get a bit more perspective and kind of build up some hype for whatever's coming up, which in this case is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
So I read The Mighty Thor, which stars Jane Foster as Thor. And you read...
Thor, the God of Thunder.
Okay, which is about Gore the God Butcher, right?
Gore, yeah. Yeah, because I'm really interested in his character.
Yeah. So, for us in the U.S., it is our Independence Day weekend, and today is literally Independence Day. So, we've been busy with family stuff, and, my wife and I were literally out of state until, late yesterday. So, we figured today is going to be probably a shorter one, and we're just going to talk about our comics, and we're still going to do, our what you've been thinking about for the week. And then, next week we'll have to catch up on any of the news and talk about Thor itself.
Yeah.
So if you're ready to talk about it, Chris, I'll let you go ahead and start.
Yeah. So mine is, Thor, God of Thunder, and it starts off. So it gets a little tricky because in this one it does play with time and space.
Okay.
So bear with me because I might butcher it a little bit. No pun intended.
I am going to interrupt you for a moment just to say ahead of time that with it being Independence Day in the U.S. in the middle of America, you may or may not hear fireworks in the background.
Yeah.
I hear neighbors setting them off.
Yeah, it's 9:47 in the evening. So, yeah. Yeah, so it does kind of play with time and space. So it starts off with Thor before he has Mjolnir.
Okay.
And he's just wielding this axe, which is dope. And he basically is answering to prayers for help. And he's doing that. And then, they find this, basically this kid comes running out because he's on this planet. And, he killed some monster for him. And he's drinking all this ale, getting drunk as fuck. And he says, he's like...
This is Thor?
This is Thor.
Yeah, okay.
And Thor, it says in the comic that he drank enough ale to drown a giant.
Word.
And then he's eaten enough goats to fulfill an army of men or something like that. But then straight up says, and he's made love with half the women in the village.
Right on.
So he's just slinging dick.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just drinking and eating and fucking his way through this area.
All right, yeah. And then some kid runs out, and he's like, I saw something in the water. And some old guy's like, the kid speaks truth.
Thor's like,
and he's like, all right, let me check this shit out. So he walks over and he finds a decapitated head on the beach. And they're like, oh, well, it looks like he's not really from here. He's not one from the village. Ship could have crashed, got shredded up in the rocks. Hate to see it.
Yeah.
And then one of the ladies is like, I don't think so. Thor, why don't you go ahead and take a look in his eyes? Tell me what you see.
Yeah, check it out.
They're looking at this, and Thor's like, these are the eyes of a god. And that's not cash money. So you guys go ahead and go back inside, right? And
Speaking as a god.
Right, go party it up. And I'll check it out. So they all fuck off, and he's roaming around, and basically Gore, creaks his way out of the fucking water, and is like, I smell gods. Was like, Thor! So he fucking runs over, whoops his ass, hardcore, like Gangnam style. And
Gore whips Thor's ass?
Huh?
Gore whips Thor's ass?
That is correct.
Oh, shit.
He damn near kills him. And then, he thinks he does kill him, and then he fucking scatters off in the night.
He's like, I gotta get out of here. He flees the scene of the crime. That's a smart criminal.
All right, yeah. In and out.
Yeah.
And so he wakes up.
Does he have the necro blade?
Oh, yeah.
So even better, he rolls up, shanks him, and dips.
Mm-hmm. That he does. He didn't shank him though, but he peppered him up real nice, basically. And then like it fast forwards like hundreds of years because Thor is like hundreds and thousands of years old,
Right. Yeah.
to modern day, and basically he's trying to hunt Gore, and he brings Tony Stank with him,
Yeah. We got to do this though.
and he comes up to his cave, basically where rumor has it where he lives,
Yeah.
and he's talking to Tony. He's like, "All right, you're gonna chill here, and you're just gonna wait."
Yeah.
And Tony's like,
Keep watch.
No, I don't think that's
ain't
how it
feeling
works.
that.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come with you. And like Thor kind of gives him a look and goes like, "This is God's work."
Yeah. Like
And
this,
Thor,
hate to tell you, bub, this ain't you.
yeah, and Iron Man was like, he's like, "I've never seen you look like this at all, so I'm gonna trust your judgment."
I'm gonna go ahead and take your word.
He's like, "I'll just chill right here." And Thor's like, "Actually, here's a better idea. You're gonna fly to Olympus, and you're gonna alert all of the gods that I found Gore the God Butcher, and you're gonna send them here."
Damn.
And Tony's like, sounds good.
Yeah.
And in this one, his armor was different. It wasn't red and yellow; it was black and yellow.
So I'm wondering.
Uh-huh.
I don't mean to cut you off. So you read because there's two versions of this story, and originally we were going to have you read the one from 2015, but you read the current one from 2020 too, right?
Correct.
So I'm wondering. I haven't caught up with Iron Man or like kept up with Iron Man, and I don't know if this is even like in canon with the rest of what's going on in comics. But I know that recently Iron Man's been in like the Guardians of the Galaxy and is like a space-faring hero.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe I don't know if that
They're
comes up in
spinning
your
off
comics.
that.
If maybe that's who this version of Tony is.
No, the Guardians do not pop up.
Okay.
So then it fast forwards even more, and this is where it kind of gets a little fucky.
Yeah.
And he's an old man.
Thor is.
And yeah, Thor. And Gore is still out hunting gods, like left and right.
Yep.
Like hanging brain. And,
He's slicing and dicing.
yeah, snapping necks, cashing checks.
You got to, baby. You know.
And so Thor's super old, and Gore has these like almost like guard dogs that are made out of like the necromancer goo.
So again, I don't know if it comes up in your comic, but it won't come up in the movie, I'm sure, because of ownership rights and stuff. But that the Necroblade is symbiote material, so it's like venom.
Yeah, I say which makes sense
from the planet of Null.
He calls them guard dogs, and basically they look just like kind of maybe slightly humanoid dogs.
Yeah,
like they can stand on 2 feet. They run on all fours, but they can stand. And old Thor is just beating the shit out of all of them, and then he gets stabbed a couple times on his throne, and then they just leave. And Thor's like cursing at Gore because he's like, I'm old, just kill me. You've won.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you want to hear? You've won. And he's getting all mad, and under his breath, Thor's like, son of a bitch.
For fucking
God. And you hear he's getting all I gotta go on a walk.
Yeah, I gotta take a lap.
Yeah, I gotta cool down. And so yeah, he is basically like, well, I'm not gonna sit here and die on my throne.
Sorry.
Wow.
I unmuted my mic.
I saw that and I was like, why is that muted? And then it unmuted and you burped and I was like, oh well.
I apologize.
So he basically says, and I'm gonna try to quote it here. He says, if I can't walk to my death like the rest of the Vikings that have gone to Valhalla, I will crawl like a wounded dog.
Damn.
And yeah, he's just crawling, and then summons Mjolnir. And then it gets even a little more fucky, because Gore, he's fucking around with space and time, and he found this planet that can time travel.
Okay.
And he basically kills all of them, except for one who is their god, and goes, yeah, you're gonna... Because apparently if they fill up a pool of blood with their blood, or no, excuse me. The people who were inhabited on that planet could time travel through just a drop of their blood.
Okay.
So basically, if I'm like, you know what, I'm trying to see Jaws in theaters, I'm gonna punch my nose real hard, and then I'm there.
Right.
But if he found out if you fill up this pool with that blood, that anybody can time travel.
Okay.
So Gore's like, watch this.
I'm in.
Yeah, and fucking slaughters them. Fills up that pool, and then basically asks their god, "Is this gonna work?" And he goes, I mean, yeah, it's gonna work to get you there, but I don't know if it's ever gonna get you back.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how that works. And he goes, well, if it doesn't get me back, then I'm just gonna have my guard dogs kill you. So you better figure it out.
Yeah, you better cross your fingers, baby girl.
And he's like, all right, well, Godspeed, I guess. And then right as he's leaving, chops off both of his arms and kills him. And then walks through this pool of blood. And then he's off doing some other shit. And then this is where I start getting confused. I'm a simple man. I got a simple mind.
That is true.
Like I get intrigued by bright colors.
Just get distracted.
Yeah. And so Thor from modern time.
Yeah.
And
not
the
Thor.
Yeah. And the Thor
old
from
Thor?
No, from way back when he was real young, before he had Mjolnir. Somehow both time travel to old Thor.
I'm with you. Okay, 3 Thors.
Yeah.
Young Thor, now Thor, old Thor.
And then from there, they all kind of gang up on all of the beasts, and then modern Thor just fucking slices his arm off. And
Gore's or his own arm?
Gore slices Gore's arm off.
Whoa.
Yeah, it slices his own arm off.
Just in a weird move.
Starts having sex with Gore. It was a whole thing.
It was just odd, yeah. I didn't know they could show that in comics.
Yeah, I was shocked, truly. Thought I'd find it at Lion's Den or something. Right. And then after the penetration,
yeah,
Gore basically goes on to say, or it's Gore from the future kind of narrating over.
Yeah.
And he's like, on this day, you thought you killed me, but you only made me stronger. And or like, you opened me up to my true potential or some shit like that.
Right.
And then it says, to be continued.
Damn.
Yeah, so it didn't really get to finish, which kind of sucked. But it was 7 issues. I read them all.
You're a beast. You're a machine.
But it was really good. Like, I'd like to, depending, I'm not sure if they're going to keep writing until the movie comes out because, spoiling it. But
right.
Then again, it's a comic, so I'd really like to keep reading on that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt at the end of mine without giving too much away on my thoughts. So thank you for that, sir.
Yeah. What was tell me all about yours.
So mine feels a little bit more not connected, but it definitely feels like we drop in the middle of, which I kind of like. We drop in the middle of bigger things happening. So so mine was first published on November 18th in 2015, and it was written by Jason Aaron with the cover art by Russell Dodderman. And technically the first appearance of this version of Thor was in a crossover comic called Original Sin.
Uh-huh.
Where, wow. Am I keeping you up?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back.
You just cut me off. You just. This week I'm talking about. My cryptid this week is. No. So the first version of this Thor was in a crossover comic called Original Sin, where Thor Odinson loses his ability to wield Mjolnir after Nick Fury whispers something in his ear that whatever Nick Fury tells him makes him unworthy. And so the hammer's left to look for another person who is worthy, right?
Yeah. What did Nick Fury whisper?
I don't know. I didn't.
Oh, you don't find out.
Well, so not in my comic. It isn't about Thor Odinson, right? But so that's the setup. Is the original recipe Thor is unworthy and is now going by the name of Odinson only. He's dropped the name Thor. And so from now on, if I refer to Thor, unless I expressly say Thor Odinson, Thor is referring to Jane Foster as Thor.
Yes.
And so during the original Sin comic, where Thor Odinson leaves behind everything, a mysterious female takes up the mantle of Thor, and then at the end of that, it was revealed to be Jane Foster, which is where this comic picks up. Of like, okay, now that the cat's out of the bag, we all know Jane Foster's Thor. Here is her story, right? So I read the first 5 comics, and it really does just drop us into the action. Like I said, the idea of like this bigger thing is going on. So it starts off with like a little narration from Jane Foster talking about her time with breast cancer and going through chemotherapy. But that the doctors can't really figure out why her body isn't responding. They caught the breast cancer kind of early and started the chemotherapy, but it just continues to spread. And Dr. Foster herself reveals to us, the reader, that every time she wields Mjolnir and transforms into Thor, the goddess of thunder, her body is cleansed of all poisons, which Mjolnir sees the chemotherapy as poison, but leaves the tumors as an extension of her body since it's her own cells.
Right.
So every time she has to turn into Thor and save the day, she basically gets rid of all the medicine. And so she's essentially killing herself a little bit at a time every time she has to be the hero. Which kind of makes her heroism a little bit more impactful, I think.
Sure, absolutely.
Because she's literally putting it on the line, like...
Sorry, could you say that again?
Jesus Christ. Shut that bitch up!
Whoa! Siri, you ugly bitch! No, so yeah,
just super disrespectful.
Yeah, just spitting at her, calling her names. That's not funny. It picks up in the heat of the greater arc, right from that crossover comic I mentioned, where apparently Odin and his brother have essentially just cast a massive shadow of fear over Asgard, which is now being referred to as Asgardia.
Okay.
And so Thor and the reader are drawn into this intrigue with like a massive number of light elf corpses are just dumped into space above Earth. And they actually take out a Roxxon weather satellite or weather space center. And Thor like sees on the news that like this satellite the space station is crashing out of orbit. And like the Avengers roll up and are trying to figure out how they're gonna like stop this thing. And Thor just fucking rolls up and is like, I got this shit, you know.
You're good.
And so we do get like a quick glimpse of like, I think we saw Captain America and Iron Man. And maybe another one, but I don't remember offhand. It's literally just like 2 frames where Tony, you know, or whoever is Iron Man in this point, says something of like, you know, do you know what's going on here? And she's like, yep, and then just dips. Like she literally just half answers it like, yeah, I do, and then leaves, and he's kind of like, word, okay.
You gonna share with the class, or?
And then that's the last that I've seen so far of the Avengers, but. She immediately suspects that with seeing the Light Elf corpses, that Malekith and the Dark Elves are kind of responsible for that slaughter that went down there. And there's now like a Congress of the Realms in Asgardia, where actually Dr. Jane Foster is the representative for Midgard, and she kind of has to hide, I wrote her, thorniness, because Odin and his brother have essentially created like a headhunt for the, quote, false Thor. And they've got a bunch of wanted posters up of her. And so Jane Foster has to roll up as the cancer-riddled Jane Foster and be the representative from Midgard. And there's this really tense atmosphere in Asgardia where everyone, including the other realms, like in the Congress, are like really not cool with Odin. They're like, this guy is about to snap. Like they're all afraid to speak openly because he'll maybe take your head or throw you in jail.
Right.
And Odin has a brother named Cole, who I kind of mentioned earlier, and he seems to be maybe corrupting Odin, or at least like getting in his head and making him just a really big fuck. To the point where like Freya, his wife, the mother of Thor, Odinson, is actually in a cell for coming to the Mighty Thor's defense.
Shit.
Which the Mighty Thor is Jane Foster. And And so she's like locked away in a cell for treason for standing against Odin. And so, like I said, all the realms are just on edge, and they are really on edge, especially because nobody knows where Odinson went.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gone. And the Dark Elves are, in fact, scheming, trying to put together a group of dark forces to kind of take control of the other realms. And so that group has Dario Agger, who's the Minotaur slash like the leader of Roxxon Corp. So that Roxxon satellite that got taken out was like collateral damage for a bigger scheme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laufey, who's the king of Jotunheim and the biological father of Loki, is a part of this group. And then Loki, the god of mischief, and the Enchantress are both part of this group that Malekith is putting together to, take shit over. And so basically they're like, all right, yeah, everything's going cool. Like, the Congress won't do anything against us because they're all too afraid to really move on anything. So we're solid. And they straight up just use Roxxon's bombs and tanks to, like, launch a full-scale attack on Alfheim, which is the realm of the Light Elves.
Yeah.
And the Dark Elves are being used as the ground forces, and Loki's there to distract Thor, which was kind of cool because Thor and Loki are fighting. And Loki's excited to, like, fight a different Thor,
Mm-hmm.
And he actually brings a bunch of his, using, like, illusions and stuff. He brings a bunch of the variants that we saw in Loki, the TV show, to, like, help him fight. So we see, like, classic Loki, and we see one of the kid Lokis, and there was, like, one of the... in the show, you see briefly when they're showing a bunch of the variants that they've caught.
Mm-hmm.
You see one that almost looks like Hulk. And there was that version in this as well. So there was just a bunch of Lokis fighting Thor on Alfheim. And the Enchantress just straight up corrupts the queen of the Light Elves and is like, yeah, you want to marry Malekith. And so she just agrees to marry Malekith, and then he's like, oh, cool, so now I'm the king of Alfheim and the king of the Dark Elves. And we're all united, and you're going in the dungeon, basically. And so he throws the Queen of the Light Elves in jail, and she kind of snaps out of her enchantment and is like, wait, what the fuck? What did you get me to agree to? And so quickly the war between the elves was lost.
Mm-hmm.
And as this is going down, shit like pops off back on Asgard, where Lady Freya is on trial for blasphemy and treason finally.
Blasphemy!
Blasphemous! She's knelt before Odin, and he's like giving her the chance to apologize, and he's like, I'll let you go. And she's like, no, like if you're being a fuck, like, I'm not going to apologize for it. And eventually outside the castle, there's a crowd that like becomes fully like restless, and a full civil war breaks out.
Ooh.
And like they break down the walls of the castle and are fighting. And they get in and they free Freya, and Thor and Loki kind of feel what's going down. And Loki's kind of revealed to be a spy, actually, working for Freya inside of Malekith's circle. Classic Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And so Thor and Loki are like, we got to get back to Asgard, help Freya and the Asgardian citizens, right? And so they roll up. Thor, like, fucking smacks Odin, and they go flying through the back of the palace, and are literally, like, they land on one of Saturn's moons and are beating the shit out of each other. And then they knock one of the other, flying into Jupiter and shit. And they're like just traveling across the fucking solar system, beating the shit out of each other. And while that's going down, Freya's like having to come to Loki's defense because everybody else is like, I'm all about helping Freya, but not with fucking Loki there.
Right.
And she's like, oh, this is my baby boy. Like, I promise you, he's not a backstabber, And Loki's actually like, literally, I am a backstabber. And he stabs Freya in the back. and dips, like he disappears. And you're like, whoa. What a fuck. Again, classic Loki,
What a cuck.
Yeah. And so Odin kind of like has a disturbance in the forest, and he's like, Freya, and he and Thor just stop fighting. And he dips back to Asgard and picks her up, and whatever blade Loki used, it was poisoned.
Okay.
And so Freya's not dead. She's like right on the edge between. And Odin like is beside himself and locks himself away with Freya. Mm-hmm. And for the time, Kull, his brother, is like, the acting king, basically. And there's just this weird, quiet tension over Asgard where, like, you know, the Civil War's over for the moment, but nobody really feels like anything was resolved. There's still that odd piece where, like,
Still
once
that
we figure
tension.
out what's going on with Freya, like, you know, because everybody, both sides obviously had an affection for Freya in one way or another, and so they're all like, oh man, we're gonna respectfully wait and see how she's doing, and then, you know, see what goes on there. And Malekith and his group were obviously seeing this as an opportunity to conquer the other realms with Odin fully distracted. And we don't get a confirmation here at the end of this little arc, but my suspicion is that Cole, Odin's brother, is like working with Malekith.
Yeah.
And you know, it was did you mean to come through that loud?
No, I don't think so.
So to me, it was like, I was like, here's my theory, and you're like, yeah?
That's being a fucking schmuck.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's how I'm reading it. That's what I'm perceiving. And then it kind of ended on a really cool cliffhanger that made me go, ooh, I want to keep reading. Because from what I could tell, the whole run of the Mighty Thor is 30 issues, but this first little bit was called, like, the War of the Realms. And it ends with, like, a couple of aliens talking to each other and being like, I don't know, man, you're going to have to go in there and check this dude out. He's been freaking out ever since...
he's bad shit.
He's just losing his fucking head ever since, you know, a couple hours ago or something. And when the door opens and one of the aliens goes in to check on whoever they're talking about, it's Odinson, and he's restrained. And he is, like, kicking and screaming and calling them bastards or whatever, and tells them basically he's, like, screaming for his mother. So he felt Freya get hurt and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill everyone and get to my mom. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of like the idea of Odinson. Maybe, you know, now he's unworthy, right? And him actually really getting to see the mighty Thor and be like, oh, what the hell, you know? Like,
yeah.
Kind of be rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I enjoyed it, and I think people should read it, because, yeah, it was pretty cool. And I hope to see some of that Jane Foster stuff kind of carry through. I don't want it to be brushed over, because she is very capable, and I do like the idea. I don't know if it's been confirmed for the movie or not, but I like the idea of, like, her really having a major sacrifice to be that hero.
I got a hard hunch that Thor, at least maybe in my comic, I don't know, and I know Chris Hemsworth's contract's running up. I got a hunch, you know, maybe in the comic, they might put it in the movie that he'll die and Jane will take over.
Maybe. So I know that, without spoiling my own, I know that at some point, and I don't know if it's a continuation of my comic or if it's just a different storyline or whatever, but I know that in some variations, Thor, Odinson, takes back the mantle of Thor, God of Thunder, and Jane Foster becomes a Valkyrie.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be kind of dope if you got both of them still able to be heroes.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
also
dope.
I saw an interview with Chris Hemsworth where he was straight up like, basically, I'm going to do this until Disney tells me to fuck off. Like, I'm going to keep coming back to this character.
But also... Also, in my comic...
I thought you were falling backwards out of your chair!
I need an ambulance!
But not for me!
Do you know... In the trailer, you see where they're standing in front of that big dead beast?
Yeah!
So in my comic, they kind of explain who that is.
Okay.
It's a god.
Yeah.
And it's the god of... Oh, shit, I can't remember. But it was like a...
God
everybody...
of fornication.
No, but that god won... apparently they have, like, awards for gods. And he won the god of immortality for 5 centuries in a row of just not dying of, like, natural causes.
Like, he's just got a fucking participation award. He's got a blue...
Yeah,
he's got a perfect attendance award.
Yeah, he's got a blue ribbon on him.
Yeah, like, that's literally all it was. It's like in grade school, and they're, like, giving out awards for perfect attendance and grades and shit.
Dude, we had tickets in mine, and, like, each time you got a ticket at the end, teacher would go out and, like, buy a bunch of stuff, and you could buy them with tickets. Now, I remember...
in grade school, Oh,
Hold on,
oh,
son,
go
I'm not done.
ahead. Yeah.
God damn.
Back the fuck up, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you my story.
Back the fuck up before you get smacked the fuck up.
You start delving into your heritage. Get very aggressive on me.
No, but we had tickets, and I remember. Oh man, there was.
You're sporting wood thinking about it.
I'm getting all bricked up. I'm just over here sweating.
Drooling.
I gotta take a walk. I gotta cool off.
You're gonna flop sweat. Your glasses are all foggy.
Yeah.
Your cheeks are splotched. Someone messing with that AC. Sweaty in here.
It's hot in here. But no, there was this Lego set, and it was Lego Star Wars. All I remember is it came with Luke, and I was just like head over heels for this thing. I was like, "This is what I want.
This is it. This is all."
And the teacher said from the rip, "Don't bet all of your tickets on one thing like right away because that's just not going to work." So I was like, "Copy, understood." I think I had like 40 something tickets.
Yeah,
right?
you're like loud and clear.
And she's like, "All right, the Star Wars one," and I was like, "I want to bet all my tickets." And some motherfucker said, "I'm gonna bet all those tickets, and I'm gonna add one."
Damn.
And I literally just
Jeopardy
lost
route.
it. Yeah, I lost
The
it.
Price is Right. You didn't get it?
I didn't get it, dude. And that motherfucker, I think he threw it away. He didn't even want it.
He just didn't want you to have it.
He was being a cuck. I cried. I was in like
I
5th
bet.
grade. I fucking cried, dude. I was so mad. I was like, I literally don't want anything else that's up there. And they had like iPods. They had shit like that up there. And you'd really have to bid. All they wanted was the Lego Star Wars set, and some schmuck took that away from me.
Did
You know who you are.
that?
If you're listening, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're listening, burn in hell.
Burn in hell!
I hope your life is garbage. No, I straight up,
Yeah.
I got tickets to fucking minor league baseball games and shit.
Like the blue team baseball? Like coach pitch?
No, not not minors. You know, there's Major League Baseball, MLB,
Yeah.
and then there's minor league, which is like, you
It
fucking
clicked.
dunce.
It clicked. I was like, what, like coach pitch? Why the fuck would you want to do that?
Yeah. I got tickets to fucking just.
You're never gonna believe it?
Pirates, you know,
You're never gonna believe it, but a machine throws the ball.
throws the ball like you won't even fucking believe it. A dad with a beer gut who got coaching throws the baseball.
Too much dipping.
I straight up saw him hit a kid in the hip, and I think he did it on purpose. I can neither confirm or deny.
I saw earlier the kid cut him in line for nachos. This fucking hits him right in the hip.
Pretty sure it was a message. He sent a message to that kid. It was a hit. But no, it was an inside job. No, I got my dad and I went to the fucking games, and I was like, dude, this whole attendance thing, cash money.
Cash.
And then you get into like middle school and high school, and they're like, you should just fucking show up because it's your job. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like,
Wait, settle down.
wait a goddamn second. I used to get rewarded for this, and now it's just a expectation. It's like getting a promotion with no raise at work. You just have to do more.
You just have to.
Yeah. But no, all of that to say, what you thinking about, Chris?
Welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, the douche.
The Crazy Ira and the douche.
What up, douche nation?
Douche nation.
No, but so
We need to get a sound bar. Or what is it? Yeah, is it a sound bar? No, soundboard.
Yeah, tomato.
So I can hit you with like fucking fart sounds and burps and shit.
Bingo. So I'm still continuing on my alien streak. Honestly, it's probably gonna keep going on for a while. So, like I said, just start expecting that because there's so much shit you gotta uncover.
You get us some stuff about Norwegians?
You know what? It's pulled up. I swear. No. So this week I'm talking about sightings. I'm trying to keep it fresh, not the same thing over and over again. So I'll touch back on like different species of aliens. But this one, actually, I was looking at sightings, trying to find stuff. Because originally, which I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into, I wanted to pull up stuff for Skinwalker Ranch in Nevada. But there's nothing out there. Like, you can't find dick. So I'm going to have to do... I mean, I did like a full...
Skinwalkers in general.
See what you did. I did like a solid 10 minutes of research, and I didn't find nothing, so... There's probably nothing out there.
I'm going to be, like, super legit with everybody right now. I'm about to piss my pants, but I can leave my headphones on. I'm going to mute my mic and go piss. You tell me about your cryptid. I am legitimately listening.
We just hear your stream. Oh, my God. No. So, this week, I actually found a cryptid, or an alien sighting in North Korea. And this sighting is a little bit outside of, looks like here it's a little bit southeast of Pyongyang, North Korea. And the encounter is, pull up this full story here. Maybe if it wants to fucking load. Okay. So, in May of 1951, 1 year into the Korean War, Francis P. Wall and his regiment found themselves stationed... Oh my god, I don't want to subscribe. Holy fuck. Oh my god. In May of 1951, 1 year into the Korean War, Francis P. Wall and his regiment found themselves stationed near Shorewon, about 16 miles north of Seoul. As they were preparing to bombard a nearby village with artillery, all of a sudden the soldiers saw a strange sight up in the hills, like a quote-unquote jack-o'-lantern come wafting down across the mountain. What happened after the pulsing, attacking light, the lingering, debilitating symptoms would mystify many for decades to come. Let's see. As the GIs watched the craft make its way down into the village, where the artillery air bursts started to explode, we further noticed that this object would get right into a center of airburst of artillery, and yet remain unharmed. I might. Wall later told John that the Center for UFO Studies in 1987 interview, suddenly the object turned. Wall said, "What the fuck? This makes no sense." And whereas his first...
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? I thought I had good sources at Wikipedia, or history.com.
Cut it.
No, but they said it's originally it glowed orange, now it's pulsating blue and green brilliant light. He asked the company commander for permission to fire at the object with armor-piercing bullets from an MI rifle.
Hey, boss, can I shoot this thing?
Hey, boss, like, I don't like this thing.
I don't trust it. It's different.
As the bullets hit the body of the craft, they recalled it making a metallic ding. The object started behaving still more erratically, shunting from one side as if the lights flashed on and off. Wall's recollections of what happened next are stranger still. "We were attacked," he said, quote-unquote, quote, "swept up by some form of ray that was emitted in pulses and waves that you could visually see one when it was aiming directly at you. That is to say, like a searchlight sweeps around and the segments of light, you would see it coming at you." He remembered a burning, tingling sensation sweeping over his body as if he were being penetrated. Oh, I know that feeling. The men rushed...
As soon as you said the word penetrated, I knew you were going to go there. I like that. We are adult men, and we can't avoid the topics of penetration.
Dick and balls will always be funny. It's just, it's like
farts,
a rule. Oh, yeah.
And butts and poops, just bodily functions.
Yeah.
Like,
if I'm feeling daring, sharks will be funny.
Yeah. You got to be in the right headspace. But sharks will get you there.
And then, so it says here, the men rushed into an underground bunker and they peeped through the windows. A bunch of grown-ass men. Guy, I don't like this fucking look. Someone take a look. The craft hovered above them and then shot off at a 45-degree angle. It's that quick, he said. It was there, then 1 minute it wasn't. 3 days after the incident, the entire company of men was evacuated by ambulance, with special roads cut to haul out the ones too weak to walk. When they finally received medical treatment, they were found to have dysentery and extremely high white blood cell count. To me, quote unquote, says Richard F. Haynes, a UFO researcher and former NASA scientist, they had symptoms that sounded like the effects of radiation. In the wake of the Korean War, which ended in July of 1953, dozens of men had reported seeing similar unidentified flying objects over the course of a 37-month conflict. The craft often resembled flying saucers, according to unofficial reports. That's a link. As many as 42 were corroborated by an additional witness report. An average of witness reports, an averaging of more than one a month in just over 3 years.
Yeah. Now that's really interesting. I like the idea of, like, I guess military men, servicemen, being like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, like what would it? Because I mean, it's gonna sound very funny at first, but in all serious, with any country, if the military sees something that they don't know what that is, I mean, your first thought probably isn't an alien, but it's probably like, that's an enemy.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's an enemy. And then to find out, like, that's not an enemy, and so you're really scratching.
Not an enemy that we know of. Yeah,
that? Right. What the fuck is that? And I think it's very interesting that they had a former NASA scientist and a UFO researcher look at that, and as well as medical treatments being like, these are symptoms of fucking radiation. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. In the 50s, which
these beams, pulled up. It's just like, oof. So I mean, it's where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think this one does have a little bit of because there's more to read too about this whole thing. It goes on for quite a minute, but that's basically the gist of it without going into too much detail.
Yeah, if you want, I can put the link to that in the description.
Yeah, absolutely, because it talks about the long-lasting after effects of some of the soldiers there, of like their bodies and what it did. Because it's not radiation, but it's radiation symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened?
What the fuck was it? Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely throw the link in there to for you guys to take a look. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I'd like to cover more UFO sightings that have a lot of like hard soil evidence on it, just because I think it's interesting. Because I always love to hear really good sightings, but if it has like something I can hold on to be like, oh, that sounds accurate, that sounds realistic.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like so outlandish that most people are gonna go, yeah, but that's a story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas if there's something to it where you're like, I mean, okay, so in the Korean War they saw some lights and something spooked them and they shot it and now they're all sick.
Right. But aside from that, I do actually have some what you've been thinking about.
Yeah.
I've been bitching and moaning about playing Uncharted for
That's true.
Like forever. I did finish Barry.
I can back that up. Good.
I did finish Barry, so yeah, I was shitting my pants. Because I know you fucking would.
And you were worried.
Yeah. So we can definitely touch up on that. And then also, on the topic of aliens, there is an alien video game, and I don't know the name of it for the life of me. But
can I tag in with it? Because that's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can talk about that one that you sent me, and then I've got another one that I was kind of starting to tell you about.
Yeah, so
you need me to pull up what you sent me?
I mean, just from the video, I can explain everything that was going on.
So, the name is called The Gray Hill Incident is what it's called.
The Gray Hill Incident. It looks like a really good game. The graphics look really nice, which isn't everything, but it's always like
helps.
Yeah,
cool,
it grabs my attention a little more.
Yeah.
But basically, you're this guy kind of look on the farm.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was like you, like it was your farm, or if you were called in to investigate this farm.
It could be either or. You get caught in an invasion, and you don't know how many are landing, but there's one right in front of you.
Yeah.
And so, like, you actually arm yourself. It's a very horror style video game, which I haven't played a good horror style in a long time. So I'm excited for stuff like this and The Quarry. So stuff like
which
that
is out.
Really
looks. Play it.
Yeah, I got to. I have to. So I'm really excited for seeing stuff like that. Which we also need to see the Black Phone. I heard very good things about the Black Phone. But in this, I mean, you see stuff where obviously you're kind of hiding behind, like on the side of the house as you're seeing the aliens kind of like walk their way, and they do look like they're gray, but they look like just the classic aliens.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it is kind of like you see one of them cock their head at you and you quickly turn back, and it is kind of like in that mysterious, oh fuck.
The fuck.
And then you get like a quick snippet of your character running, turning around, and you have an alien right there, and you cap him.
Yeah, just bah!
But you don't see any blood. You just see him kind of fall back and be stunned.
like,
so I'm curious
back.
if you can't kill him, and you're just fucked if they get you. But no, it looks really interesting, and you do. I got a little bit of a chuckle because you see a guy talking to you, and he's got like the tinfoil hat. He's like, the Jews staged the moon landing. You know,
yeah.
He's way out there with conspiracies, but he just happens to be right on this one.
Right on this one, yeah. It's like, did you ever watch 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that, where he was a conspiracy theorist, but lo and behold, he was right on this one.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That's a solid movie. Like 6 Degrees of Separation here. The director of that, Dan Trachtenberg, is the director of the Prey, Predator prequel, which is coming out in a few weeks. You gotta chill out, bub. You're gonna soil yourself.
I think I already did.
Like I already did. Yeah, I can't get away from it. I've been thinking about alien games. So you gotta go for a walk.
I gotta walk this off.
I gotta chill out. But no, yeah. So talking about alien games, there's a demo on Steam it's a PC game only at the moment, at least, for a game that's supposed to come out. It said sometime 2022. I think it said late 2022. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go for like a Halloween time.
Sure.
Release, but it's an alien invasion game, literally called Alien Abduction Survival Horror was how they classified it on their Steam page. But yeah, it's called They Are Here, and they have a demo available. And I played that shit last year, and it made me think of it because there was first of all, that game you sent me kind of had me thinking about it. But dude, it was spooky as fuck. Like, it was very inspired by Signs, I think. Because there's a couple parts of it that are like, was that a scene from Signs? Like shining your flashlight down a row of corn and seeing an alien walk between the rows, and it scared the shit out of you, dude. Like, I was in here with all the lights off, in my office, and I was playing it. And there's a couple like tense scenes where like all the lights in the house that you're in go off, and you can hear like footsteps on the roof and shit like that. And all of a sudden you hear like glass break. And then you just hear like clicking and shit, and it sounds like they're in the house. And I was like, I was frozen, and I was like, oh god, I don't want to keep moving. Like, I'm about to shit my britches.
Yeah.
And it does end on like a pretty big jump scare, and I screamed loudly, and my wife teased me about it. She was like, dude, like, nah, say something.
Shut up. Shut up,
baby. You didn't play, you didn't see it, baby. Like, you wouldn't have been able to do it, You're such a fucking big britches over here, But no, so I want that shit to come out. Like, I'm into aliens. Like, you're getting me there, baby.
Alright, dude, I'm telling you. It's the way. It's the way of the corner.
Cryptid corner. I thought you were working the corner. I was like, what are you? It's the way of the corner. Just a bunch of hookers talking about aliens.
You want to hear something good?
Between gigs. That's what they call it, right?
I think I started talking. I was texting you about it. Yeah, we're talking about Hobo Tough Life, the game, which is a game about the Soviet Union just fell, and you're in Russia, and it's a simulator, and you're playing as a homeless person, just trying to make it, right? And
talk about the text I sent you.
Yeah, we talked about selling ass on the corner, and I sent you like selling ass for something real, like dirt cheap, like $2. And
like $2.95.
I was talking to a buddy at work, and as we were leaving, so we're pulling out, and we stopped at the red light together, and he was like, "How much?" And I was like, $2.73, and he was like, $2.70. And then I'm thinking of like, imagine being a homeless person trying to sell ass to get like water or like a basic thing, and someone's trying to haggle with you by 3 cents.
Yeah, they're not willing to pay $2.73 for whatever you get to offer.
Yeah, You pay them to suck your dick.
Yeah, I'll let you suck my dick, but you're gonna have to give me $5.
What?
Huh? Take it or leave it.
Somehow
Fucking leave it,
you're in
dude.
more debt.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, hard day of sucking dick today. Oh, really? How much money did you bring in? I lost $5. I'm like, what?
Wait, what?
How's that work? The last guy drove a hard bargain.
I
No
could
pun
see it in his
intended.
eye. I could see it in his eye, and then I just couldn't see it all.
His one-eyed monster. Let's see here.
Blinded me.
Blind. All right, we're gonna do the outro here, kids. So we want. Oh no, that picked up. I heard it.
Did it?
Yeah, I'm adding that to the soundboard. Just they're all real life source farts and burps.
It was my dog. Bad dog.
Whoa, damn boy.
Little rascal.
Yeah, silly dog. Again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support, especially on these small ones. I hope this. I didn't even start my timer. I'm so out of sorts. I hope this wasn't like an hour and a half because I really don't have time to edit an hour and a half episode.
It looks like we started recording at 9:45.
Yes, we should
pretty.
Coming in.
Yeah,
Coming in just under an hour. Yeah.
A little shorter, but
Which
still
is fine.
tasteful.
Yeah.
Just a tease.
Yes.
Just a touch.
It's still tasteful. Talking
we're
about
teasing you.
selling ass as a hobo, and I heard you shit your drawers. Like,
you just a hard
highbrow
silence and you go 265.
Yeah.
Like for that one there, bumping
Yeah.
5 cents. Get that nickel out of here.
Yeah, I heard you shit yourself. Yeah, it's going to cost you.
No.
It's going to cost you 5 cents. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give us a great review and tell your friends. Try and share us on social media. Try and get that word of mouth going out there. And speaking of social media, if people wanted to get a hold of us, give us some feedback, shit on us, give us some cryptids. Give us their best offer for some top.
I was also going to say, if you wanted to donate your body in the cult, we definitely, Slayer will definitely open to that. So if you want to, sacrifice your life to the cult or just get in touch with us, you can always reach out to us at our email, simplyonemmailbag@gmail.com. Our Facebook and our Instagram are Simply One Podcast, and our Twitter handle is Whelmed_simply. And I do believe we have a YouTube now, correct?
We do, yes. The last 2 episodes have been posted up there.
Awesome.
I'm still, I have not set aside the time to get everything uploaded. All the past episodes. I got to do that.
I'm if you want, I could probably do it.
Yeah, that'd be a big help.
Yeah, I am just eye candy here on a podcast where you cannot see us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
was that another fart?
No, that was my chair.
Recreate it. Damn, son, you shit your pants.
No, I didn't, I swear!
But no, our YouTube is, in fact, the Simply One Podcast.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out. Give us some love, because I just can't wait to start saying shit like, smash that like button! Because I wholeheartedly will. That's so
I'll
fucking
do it,
funny
like,
to me.
unironically. I
Watch
need to,
how fast I'll do it.
We need to get out ahead of this thing. We're going to stop. I don't think I should say this on the air. We're going to stop calling it the cult. We're going to start calling it the church. Because if we, cults are a crime, but churches are tax exempt.
Sounds like we're about to get that cheddar cheese.
Sounds like we're all about to pray.
Yeah. So if you'd like to,
pray to us,
save yourself for the Church of the Whelmed.
Yeah.
We are no longer cultists. We are above that.
We're what do you call them? Parishioners, yeah.
Yeah. We are the embodiment of Christ, and you are our disciples.
Nope. Next week, we're going to be talking about Thor, Love, and Thunder.
Yeah! Speaking of God.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, dude. It hurts to be this good.
Your brain is just against the sides of your skull. It is so swollen. You're drooling. Your brain's so big, dude. That's internal bleeding. That's a hemorrhage. So next week, we're obviously going to talk about Thor. And I'm going to kind of try and lay out our road path. Our
we'll also have to touch up on Barry.
Yeah, I heard that voice crack. Don't think I didn't.
Shut up.
I'm a big boy. Yeah. So next week, the 13th, we'll have the Thor episode. The 20th, we should be able to do like a recap. Maybe we do like a TV roundup and talk about Barry and Ms. Marvel.
Should we set up like a Patreon or a GoFundMe for the church?
Not yet. We got to gain followers.
All right, we got to get disciples.
Yeah. Yes. And then let's see. The 27th, we would be talking about fucking Nope, dude.
Now I gotta piss. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah. But yeah,
I gotta. Yeah, I want to see. I want to see Nope real bad. I'm real excited for that shit. Like I get. You think I'm hard now?
No, I didn't think that, but now I do.
Oh,
thank you everyone so much for listening. We will see you next Wednesday.
Like,
Actually,
hold
in
on,
the show,
listen to
Chris,
this.
tell everybody bye.
Ready? Listen to this. Ready? I'm gonna stand up.
That
was my
your
penis.
dick hitting the table? Yeah.
That's right.
All right. tell everybody bye, Chris.
Bye.